The wind howls, a relentless force that cuts through the trees like a knife. Snow falls thick and fast, blanketing the ground in a suffocating white shroud. A chilling sound echoes through the forest, a haunting melody that sends shivers down your spine. It is a high-pitched wail, full of hunger and pain, a cry that pierces the soul and leaves a lingering sense of dread. It is the sound of the Wendigo, an ancient evil that haunts the northern woods, a creature born of darkness and despair. The Wendigo is a creature of nightmare, a being that embodies the very essence of terror. It is a horrifying blend of human and beast, driven by an insatiable hunger for human flesh, a monstrous entity that knows no mercy. It stalks the frozen wilderness, searching for its next victim, moving silently through the snow with a predatory grace. For centuries, tales of the Wendigo have been passed down by Native American tribes, stories that serve as both warnings and lessons. They warn of the dangers of greed and the darkness that lurks within the human heart, a darkness that can give birth to such a monstrous being. These stories are not for the faint of heart, for they delve into the deepest fears and the most primal instincts of humanity. They are tales of terror, meant to chill you to the bone, to remind you of the thin line between civilization and savagery. Read on if you dare and discover the chilling truth about the Wendigo, a truth that may haunt your dreams and linger in your thoughts long after the story ends. The Wendigo legend originated long ago. It comes from the Algonquian-speaking tribes of North America. These tribes lived in the Great Lakes region and Canada. They knew the harsh realities of winter. They knew the dangers of the wilderness. The Wendigo was more than just a monster to them. It was a representation of the dangers of greed and excess. It symbolized the darkness that could consume a person who took more than they needed. Stories of the Wendigo were told to teach important lessons. They warned against selfishness and the importance of respecting nature. To this day, the Wendigo remains a powerful symbol in Native American culture. The stories served as cautionary tales. They reminded people to control their desires and to live in harmony with the natural world. Imagine a creature of immense size and strength, a being that roams the darkest corners of the forest, hidden from the eyes of those who dare to venture into its domain. It towers over men, its skeletal frame almost translucent against the snow. This creature, known as the Wendigo, is a haunting presence, a specter of fear and dread. Its heart beats with an icy cold, a chill that penetrates the very soul of those who encounter it. The Wendigo's heart is said to be as frozen as the winter landscape it inhabits. Its eyes burn with a terrifying hunger, glowing like embers in the darkness. These eyes are not just windows to its soul, but a beacon of its insatiable appetite. This is the Wendigo. Its skin is stretched tight over its bones, giving it a gaunt and emaciated appearance. This skeletal visage is a testament to its endless hunger, a hunger that can never be sated. Its teeth are long and sharp, perfect for tearing flesh. These fangs are tools of destruction designed to rip apart its prey with terrifying efficiency. Its claws are like daggers, capable of ripping through ice and bone. These claws are not just weapons but instruments of fear, leaving behind a trail of destruction. The Wendigo's breath is said to be colder than the winter wind. This breath, a harbinger of death, freezes the air around it, creating an aura of dread. It leaves a trail of frost and decay in its wake. Wherever it treads, the forest withers and the ground turns to ice, marking its path with a signature of death. Some say it can mimic human voices. This ability to imitate the sounds of the living is a cruel trick, a lure for the unsuspecting. It uses this trick to lure unsuspecting victims into the depths of the forest. Once they are lost, the Wendigo strikes, feeding on their fear and flesh. The Wendigo is more than just a physical monster. It is a psychological terror, a manifestation of our deepest fears and darkest desires. It is the embodiment of greed, hunger, and the darkest impulses of humanity. The Wendigo represents the insatiable desire that can consume a person, turning them into a monster. It is a reminder that even in the depths of winter there are things far more terrifying than the cold. The Wendigo is a symbol of the darkness that lies within us all, waiting to be unleashed. Section 4. Encounters in the Darkness. In the heart of the wilderness, where the shadows grow long and the cold bites deep, there are tales that send shivers down the spine. These are the stories of encounters with the Wendigo, a creature of legend and fear. Over the centuries there have been many chilling accounts of Wendigo encounters. These stories have been passed down through generations, etched into the annals of folklore and whispered around campfires. People have reported seeing this terrifying creature in the wilderness. The Wendigo is often described as a gaunt, emaciated figure with glowing eyes and an insatiable hunger for human flesh. Their stories are often fragmented, filled with fear and panic. Witnesses speak of an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the very air around them grows colder in the presence of the Wendigo. One famous account tells of a group of fur trappers in the 1800s. These men were seasoned adventurers, accustomed to the harsh realities of the wilderness. They were traveling through the Canadian wilderness when they came across strange tracks. The tracks were unlike anything they had ever seen before, leading them to believe they were not alone. The tracks were enormous, much larger than any animal they knew. They were deep and well-defined, suggesting a creature of immense size and weight. The trappers followed the tracks, growing more uneasy with each step. The forest seemed to close in around them, the silence broken only by the crunch of snow underfoot. They soon discovered the remains of their supply cache. It had been ransacked, the contents strewn across the snow. It had been torn apart, the food stolen. Fear gripped their hearts. They realized that whatever had left those tracks was not only large but also intelligent and hungry. They knew they were being hunted. The feeling of being watched was palpable, and every rustle of the trees sent them into a state of heightened alert. Another story tells of a lone traveler who got lost in a blizzard. The storm was fierce, and visibility was almost zero. He stumbled upon a cave, hoping to find shelter from the storm. The cave was dark and foreboding, but it offered a respite from the biting wind and snow. Inside he saw a horrifying sight, a tall, emaciated figure crouched over a fire. The figure's gaunt frame and hollow eyes were a stark contrast to the warmth of the fire. The creature turned its glowing eyes towards him. The traveler felt a chill run down his spine as the Wendigo's gaze locked onto him. The traveler fled in terror, the image of the Wendigo seared into his mind. He ran through the snow, his heart pounding in his chest, not daring to look back. These stories, whether true or legend, serve as chilling reminders of the power of the Wendigo myth. They speak to our deepest fears and the unknown terrors that lurk in the darkness. The Wendigo remains a symbol of the wilderness's untamed and unforgiving nature, a creature that embodies the primal fear of being hunted by something beyond our understanding. Section 5. The Wendigo's Grip on the Mind. The Wendigo legend is not just about a physical monster. It also explores a terrifying psychological phenomenon known as Wendigo psychosis. This cultural syndrome, observed primarily in Algonquian societies, is characterized by an intense craving for human flesh. Individuals experiencing Wendigo psychosis often exhibit symptoms of paranoia, depression, and hallucinations. They may believe they are transforming into a Wendigo themselves. While some believe Wendigo psychosis is a genuine cultural syndrome, others argue it was a misinterpretation of actual mental illnesses. Regardless, the concept of Wendigo psychosis adds another layer of terror to the legend. It highlights the idea that the true horror of the Wendigo may lie not just in the creature itself, but in the darkness that can consume the human heart. Section 6. The Wendigo in our world. The Wendigo, though born of ancient legends, continues to capture our imaginations today. Its image appears in books, movies, and video games. It serves as a terrifying reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the shadows. Stephen King, a master of horror, featured the Wendigo in his chilling novel, Pet Sematary. The creature's presence added a supernatural element of dread and suspense to the story. Video games, too, have embraced the Wendigo legend. In the popular game Until Dawn, players must confront a Wendigo while trying to survive a night of terror. These modern interpretations of the Wendigo demonstrate its enduring power as a symbol of fear and the unknown. Section 7. Is the Wendigo real? The question remains, is the Wendigo real? Is it a physical creature that stalks the frozen north? Or is it a figment of our imaginations, a symbol of our deepest fears? There is no definitive answer. The Wendigo legend is passed down through generations of storytelling. It is difficult to separate fact from fiction. However, the enduring power of the Wendigo myth suggests that it speaks to something primal within us. It reflects our fears of the unknown, of the darkness that can consume us if we are not careful. Perhaps the true terror of the Wendigo lies not in whether it exists or not, but in the possibility that it might. What do you think? Does the Wendigo exist? Or is it just a scary story?